Welcome back to Bell, Ohio, and this week we have something special. We're on location. We are here in Irving, Texas. Oh boy, they're excited. We're here for something special. This is the USA Triathlon Sprint Duathlon Draft Legal National Championships. It's kind of a mouthful. This is basically a weekend of multisport national championships across different disciplines. So we have aquabike, aquathlon, standard distance, sprint distance, a little bit for everyone. So as far as the weather conditions are concerned, I've been spending my time in Ohio with 50 degrees, lots of wind, and lots of clouds. At least the wind is consistent. We've got about 15-mile-an-hour winds, but it is 85 degrees and very brightly sunny. So perfect race conditions if you're acclimated to that type of thing. It'll be a crash course for me. And speaking of crash course, this is draft legal duathlon. That means there will be pack racing mechanics going on today. And traditionally speaking, triathletes, and I am one of them, we're not known for their road racing etiquette behavior in the bunch. So we're going to see how that goes. I'm not going to do too much filming today on the run, but I am going to try to capture the entire bike leg. Coming up to the race venue here. This is the Levy Event Plaza along Las Colinas Boulevard in Irving, Texas. So we are coming up on 1 o'clock, which is when transition will open for the sprint duathlon athletes. They're doing the standard event distance this morning. So those guys hopefully are finished up by now. Since this is draft legal, let's take a look at the equipment. I don't have my typical Quintana-Roo with me today since you can't ride a time trial bike with draft legal rules. So I do have my Cannondale CAD 10 that I built up somewhat custom just through COVID, a little bit of a COVID project. Have a 62 millimeter deep on the rear, a 50 millimeter deep on the front. Continental GP 5000, 25 width in the rear with the Bontrager Aero R4 on the front. That's a 700 by 22 just to match the rim width. Not exactly what you want for optimized rolling resistance or cornering traction, but I do think it'll give me a little bit of an aero advantage today. But yeah, I'm chomping at the bit. I've been training for this since last December, and training went pretty well, except for mild calf strain, and I got the flu about 6 weeks ago. So perfect besides those two things. But yeah, up until late March, I was feeling great. So anyway, I'm going to try to stay out of the sun, get a little bit of a warm-up in, get some sunscreen on my bald head, and we'll see how we do today. I raced this event last year in Tuscaloosa, and I was able to get 4th place in the age group. It is a deeper field today, and I do think that the draft legal nature will negate my time trial abilities a little, but I'm just going to do the best I can, and the place is just kind of the outcome. So transition is set up. We've got about 40 minutes to go. Feel pretty good. Did a little warm up on the bike, did a little warm up on the run. I paced it out to see which way would be faster out of transition. So it's about 10 yards shorter down the middle. As if that's going to matter. So I'm trying not to get too excited here, but I haven't had caffeine in 10 days and I just had about 250 milligrams, so I think my heart rate's already jacked. Anyway, let's put the war paint on. Let's get some.
Of the starter.
right, now that I'm done almost vomiting everywhere, little race report. Got myself right to the front on the first run and just stayed to the left. I knew that a ton of people were going to overtake me, but I needed to get as close to the front as I could for the bike portion, just to pick up some strong riders, because running is not my strong suit. I did average 640s-ish for the first 5K, so I'm pretty happy with that. I allowed myself the room to not just go ballistic and overcook it, so I kept my heart rate pretty much right on lactate threshold. And then when I came into the cycling, I was all by myself until two people that I had just recently passed in the run caught up to me, a couple older gentlemen. One of them was from Ohio, I could tell by his bib. So I gave him the OH, and we started working together, and they were really strong riders. Well, welcome back, I guess. And clearly we are not in Texas anymore, so what the heck happened? I had all the best intentions of bringing you guys footage from the race. Unfortunately, in transition, I thought I started the camera, and it didn't actually start recording. And since I had the sound disabled, because sometimes I use that camera for hunting too, I didn't know I wasn't recording. So I actually, when I got to the end of the bike section, I hit record to stop it, and instead it just recorded 90 minutes of my camera facing down in transition. So that's why the battery ran out as I was trying to give you guys a post-race synopsis. So I think I left off telling you about the first run, just kind of staying within myself. 167 beats per minute. I ended up doing about 6:48s for the first 5K, and then I got in a really strong group of cyclists that caught me. I knew that I couldn't just dart out on my own. I wasn't going to survive the 13 miles by myself. So two gentlemen caught me from behind, and I formed up with them, and we worked really well together. I was pretty happy for a bunch of triathletes. We were able to, you know, pound out about 45 seconds to a minute at a time, sharing turns at the front. And I was a little chaotic, you know, burying my head trying to get aero, and the other guys were telling me, steady, steady. One of the gentlemen actually ended up being the coordinator for all of the Columbus City Schools physical education program. So that was pretty neat to see and get to work with the OHIO connection in that race. So coming into, so anyway, yeah, we averaged about 23 miles together, which is pretty good for a bunch of road bikes. Coming into the second run out of transition, I was hurting badly, but I knew that it was worth it to kind of go overboard on that bike section, because you would just make up so much time. So if I could make up 4 minutes there and then lose 30 seconds per mile, it wouldn't really matter. So coming into the second run, I probably drank a little bit too much on the bike, and I was dealing with some stomach cramps, so I had to slow it down for that. And then it was just death by 1,000 cuts trying to get to the finish line. I ended up well into the mid 7-minute mile mark, but relative to my age and gender, I actually held the same spot that I did on the first run. So I think everybody was hurting, plus the heat, solid 85 degrees there in Texas. Overall finished 6th in the age group, which is off the podium. I don't know that I really have any business being on the podium for a national level duathlon, but top 8 get to be on Team USA. So I earned a spot on Team USA to head to the Multisport World Championships in Ibiza, Spain for 2023. And that'll be around the same time of year. I think it's April 29th. So couldn't be more pumped to be back on Team USA. I haven't done an international event for Team USA since 2017. And this should be a great one. It might even be a little bit easier to pull off just because I won't need to have my triathlon bike. I could probably just rent a bike there and cut down on all the logistics. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video. Sorry for the crummy slideshow of pictures instead of race action, but it's the best I could do. So if you liked the video, please like, don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you on the next video.